So over the last 12 or maybe 24 months, Digital Streams have been dropping updates full of quality of life changes for Warframe, from grind reductions to the introduction of Omnia relics, streamlining faction standing gains, necromech acquisition reduction changes, pet changes, overguard tweaks, and many, many more. And it doesn't stop there. Last night they confirmed in a dev workshop post that the next major update, Koumei and the 5 Fates, which is going to be shown off at the Tokyo Game Show next week, will be adding some huge quality of life changes as well. So let's just jump in and go over each one of them, shall we? Now, if you're new to Warframe, then you have over 10 years of content and systems and information for you to swim through, which can be very, very overwhelming. It can feel like diving into the deep end of a very big, very, I guess, intimidating pool. And it causes players to drop the game before ever getting started. So again, they want to improve that new player experience. Now, with the Koumei and the 5 Fates update, when you pick your starting Warframe, they will be removing unnecessary stat information from abilities when you hover over them on that tooltip in order to reduce the amount of information overload that these new players will be getting. Instead, that information will be in a separate panel. Now, this might seem to veterans like it's a really small change, but it's not. For a new player, this is absolutely massive. When you take into consideration everything that is being thrown at new players when they jump into the game, taking away small little pieces like this just to streamline that experience and make it more fluid and more enjoyable is definitely going to make them stick around that little bit longer. Now, they've also reduced the speed of the Grineer hacking puzzles in the quests for Vor's Prize and Awakening, so that new players can properly learn how these puzzles actually work, I guess, without that really aggressive time to fail, which was another one of those new player stumbling blocks. Now, also incubating your very first Kubro in the Howl of the Kubro quest now only takes them 60 seconds instead of 48 hours. Think about it, 48 hours. There are so many more timers like this in Warframe that definitely need to be drastically reduced just to make that experience better, but it is a start, right? Another huge change is that unknown mods in the codex will now show their full description and drop locations, which is bloody huge. Instead of showing the mod with question marks and that kind of blurred effect on it, it will now give you the information and show you exactly what that mod does and where to get it. Basically, crucial information, so no more running to the Warframe wiki, seeing mods and builds that you want to get being shared around, and then instantly having access in-game to where to get that mod. For new players, like I said, I think is absolutely massive. Also, we've all done it as new players, don't say you haven't, but selling a weapon that you don't like before you fully ranked it up. I did it to my Scanner Prime back in years ago. Thankfully, DE support was able to give it back to me before I realized what I had actually done, and there was no way for me to ever get that weapon again. But now when you go to sell an unranked weapon, it will give you a warning asking you if you're sure you want to sell it, because you are going to lose out on mastery rank if you don't rank it up first before selling it. Another small but really nice touch that they're adding is that when you unlock a new ability as you level up a Warframe, the game will now show you the input button in order to use that ability. Simple but really useful for new players who might not even know what that ability name means without digging into their menus. Now you can just cast that, I guess, and it will show you how that ability works. Plus, if you're the type of player who forgets that they've changed their mod or their build for Warframe or weapon, or you overlook your current mod capacity, then there's now going to be a warning symbol in your loadout for that item if you've got unused mod capacity on it. This way, again, new players can also get familiar with modding as they level up each piece of their gear. But these changes aren't just for new players. There is a bunch of quality of life updates for absolutely everyone within the game. For example, Void Relics will now show you whether you already own or have crafted some of the items that are inside that relic, with check marks beside the items that you actually own and have built. This change alone is huge. I know it is a feature that's been asked for a very long time. In fact, I think Frame has something like this built in. Now it's going to be built into the game instead. So no more wasting time cracking relics just to get duplicates. Now you'll know exactly what's left for you to get inside your relic of choice. Also, you can now favorite your Warframes, your weapons and cosmetics in your arsenal. So if you've got that one pink Grendel you're obsessed with, which we know you do, you can pin it at the top for easy access. On top of this, the mod fusion screen is also getting a refresh to simplify fusing mods and makes it easier to understand what exactly you're changing with that mod. You can also fuse mods in the upgrade screen simply by holding down right click or whatever the equivalent input is for your controller on console. Oh, and Pablo confirmed you will also finally be able to do all of this within the simulacrum as well. No more popping out of the simulacrum just to max a mod, just so you can pop back into it in order to test your build. You can now fuse in the simulacrum. Now, purchasing arcanes from a vendor will now show you how many arcanes of that type you already have and what rank it is. Again, this is another huge quality of life change that has been badly needed. If you have tweaked your in-game settings, then now non-default options will have a diamond indicator beside them so that you can quickly spot what settings you have changed, which overall can save you having to hit that revert settings to default, which will then change them all back to default. This way you can now single out which ones you want to revert back one by one. So when you add these quality of life changes to what we've already received over the last year or more, you can clearly see that DE drastically want the overall experience for Warframe to be much better, while also having a more streamlined new player experience. And they're not stopping there. They've said that in future updates, they are working on overhauling the Codex quest menu to make it easier to distinguish between main story quests, Warframe quests, and of course side quests. They're planning on adding narrative intros to planets and assassination targets so that we can get more of that Warframe lore as you progress through your star chart. Plus, they're going to continue tweaking those early game quests like the Awakening and Vor's Prize, as well as updating loading screen tips to, I guess, match your overall progression. That means that if you're a new player, you will get tips on basic controls and mechanics, and if you're a veteran, you're not going to get that because you already know that. You're going to get something else. So, Koumei and the Five Fates is definitely shaping up to be a pretty big update with changes for new players and veterans alike, making the game a lot more approachable for new players, definitely. I will have a recap of the Tokyo Game Show dev stream, which is at like 3 AM, I think, for me, so make sure and stay tuned for that. Our 58 Warframe Koumei, her abilities, her weapons, her cosmetics, Nyx and Trinity changes, Caliban's rework, more information on that Companion 2.0 Part 2 changes, new deluxe skins, more Incarnate weapons being added, as well as apparently another sneaky look at Warframe 1999. But let me know what you think of these changes in the comment section below. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to hit that like button if you like it, or don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Warframe news, and as always, thanks for watching.